Let's check out some Cannabis vibes.
We're dropping knowledge on Grambo grows, talking about plants and how they go. Let's go. From seeds to the cure, we always smoke pure. Nothing but good vibes up in here. We blaze the ganja, keep it fire. Grambo grows, burning desire. Learn about cultivation, step by step. You can. I got the negativity. Cannabis vibe. Grambo grows, I'm up here.
Yo, how dope is that, man? Fucking Cannabis vibes. Shout out to my guy out there. I should probably throw my microphone on, eh? Bought me a new lavalier microphone, so I kind of feel like I'm at Dude Grows show. What a fucking Gram fam. So good to be here. This kind of marks the official beginning of this being a regular thing. This represents us doing it 3 weeks in a row. And so I guess the late night smoke is here. What are you guys smoking on in the chat? Fucking I got Taken Tops coming in here in a second. We got the Hot Rods Head Stash sneak preview. I'm actually stealing him from the panel show tomorrow. Actually didn't know that Hot Rod was going to be on the Dude Grows panel show tomorrow. And I was like, hey man, you want to come on and talk hash and cocoa? And it turns out that I'm fucking stealing from the bakery boss out there. So it'll be fucking cool. Tops just rolled in. Let me take a dab real quick and I'll start getting everything going. Oh yes. I got some rainbow kernel from our boy fucking Jeremy over at the Threes Genetics. He stopped by the bakery, hooked us up with some. It's got some interesting flavor. Let's bring in Tops. If anyone knows anything about the new strains, we got my boy in here. So coming to the stage, everyone, welcome my man, Taking Tops Daily.
What's going on, Grambo? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like I got my pussy stash of dabs now that you're here.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm getting ready to smoke some hash too, man. What do you? I heard you said you got something rainbow kernel from Threes.
Yeah, rainbow kernel. That's got to be like the belts, huh? Something with the.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a rainbow belt cross, but that sounds phenomenal, man. Jeremy does really good work, and he's super.
Yeah, I think it's organic. It's got that super very light. You know, it's very connoisseur-y. I know I'll send some stuff. Shout out to my buddy DC, fucking the Couch of Death. Fucking, he hates all of the really nuanced stuff. I'll always send him stuff back home, and he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't really like that stuff." And I always wonder, is it just that I've been so overly conditioned by the best cannabis, or is it a flavor thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their cup of tea, you know. I'm more, I like to lean more towards that gas, funky, not so much earthy, but just really rank stuff that just really stinks to high hell. That's kind of my cup of tea. And then I like fruit.
El Connoisseur just triggered me. So I have to tell the story. Last week, I started by doing this first ever thing. I was like, my Puffco just came. The next episode, it was broken. So I was very, very pissed off. So I sent out an email and I said, hey, you're fucking, this thing broke. I was very nice. They sent me a replacement. This fucking cocksucker came out of the pack, just out of the box, busted out of the box. I sent them a very angry email. So shout out to all you guys with your working Puffcos. But if Puffco doesn't take care of me, I'm going to war with Puffco. Mark my words, Puffco, I'm coming for you.
That's so.
I'm kind of mad about it.
So
I'm
you
being
took
silly, but I'm actually really pissed off about it.
so you took it out of the box and it was already destroyed.
Yeah, yeah, it's got this like different warnings that it'll do. Like if it's not like securely attached, it's got like a rainbow thing, and then the 5 flashes means that there's a short circuit in it. And so I've got my non-working base over here. I've got my non-working full thing over here. So hopefully they take care of me, or else I'm going to DabX and I'm going to war.
I mean, it sounds
So now I'm hitting my dab straw like a crackhead. I hate this tops. I hate this look. I hate it.
it's all right. You gotta do what you gotta do to get there, you know?
You do. You do. We all can't live in fucking stoner heaven like taking tops daily. You live the life, my friend. Of all the people that I know in Denver who are living this can of life, you're at the top of the pile, my friend. You're living this cannabis life. I love you.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in this room in this basement, so I try to have it like decked out to, you know, the specs that I need. So
Yeah.
how's your weekend been, man? I know you wanted to get into some Coco talk today.
Yeah, I'm planning out a video about Coco here soon, and then it's always like, I was telling like you, Hot Rod, a couple I was telling Canna in the chat is like I don't want to always steal all of Dude and Scott's guests, like I don't want to get like Rasta Jeff every time and JR Token all the time. So it's like all of the homies who don't get that immediate love, like I had a jug dealer Gabe on last week. Gabe's the fucking man, yet no one really gives Gabe the time of day out there. So I'm taking all of my homies that aren't in that AAA class and moving up to the AAA class.
Well, I'm glad that you had me on, man. It's an honor to
Oh, what is this I found here? I found a couple of taking tops. Rosins is.
Rosin Scissors.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I am
Is there
hopefully there's some more
anything
left.
left in those?
Oh,
Yeah.
barely, dude. I'm holding on by a thread in there, but this spritzer, I'm loving the spritzer, man.
Yeah, the Spritzer's a good one. It's got runts in it, so it's definitely some like candy flavor.
Mm,
But it's unique when you say candy flavor. You know, like
right.
a lot of the candy stuff tends to have similar notes and be almost like what to the nose. It's like almost identical to one another. But that Spritzer,
It's got
oh, it's
it's
almost
it's
like a
like a
little
flat.
soap. It's like a little
Yeah,
soapy
it's a
almost.
little soap, but yeah, it's like got this flat. Like I was thinking the candies is a little bit sharper, and this one's got this flat. It doesn't taste like OG, but it gives me that back of the tongue like flatness of what an OG does. The funks ain't sharp. The funks hit the back of the palate.
I'm actually smoking some diamonds right now. That's what I'm about to take a dab of. So you see, it's like a little bit
Mm.
more yellow because this is BHO diamonds.
Oh, is that the Tropicana?
Yeah, yeah. This is
Fuck
Thin Mint Cookies crossed to Chem. I couldn't remember for a sec.
yo, Shawnee Mac. There's a couple Shawnee Macs out there. I had a guy hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Grambo, I think I won something. I heard you mention my name, and his name was Sean Mac." I was like, "Oh, sorry, buddy. Shawnee Mac won. Shawnee Mac won a pack of some Night Owl autoflower seeds I gave away on my first ever video, which is coming up on 40,000 views. If you can believe my second video ever fucking popped off, but what are you gonna do? People
Hell
love the
yeah,
Night Owl.
bro. Real recognize real, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm having fun, man. It was when I joined the jug dealers, right? Hanging out with Dude Grows. It's like I'm in that ecosystem. I've been a grower for 10 years. I've been in this. I moved to Denver as a cannabis refugee. I couldn't stay in the Midwest. And so I've been living this life, but I had one foot in comedy, one foot in cannabis. I wasn't sure. What am I doing? Am I still going on the road for comedy? Am I still like, what am I doing? Then when I joined up with the jug dealers, all of a sudden I found myself like in the midst, like I'm in the shit now. Like I'm hanging out with P-Bud, the guy that, you know, like did Chem 4, and then I'm like looking for a cut of Chem 4, and there's the guy who fucking popped the seed of it. It's like, holy shit. So started realizing I'm hanging out with Jaron and Gabe, Scotty, fucking JR. I'm hanging out with everyone in the know. I was like, dude, just through osmosis, I'm soaking up a freaking cannabis education that I got to share. So once I got with the jug dealers, I decided, like, well, comedy's going to go on the back burner for a little bit, and I'm going to double down on cannabis, man. The plant's given me everything my entire life. Why stop now?
Yeah, and you're in a, like you said, you're in like a unique situation because you're around all these different influencers, or if that's what you want to call them, or just people that
Sure.
are people that are, you know, actively on the scene and that are like paving the way for future growers and guys that are going to come into the space in the future, and they'll look at, you know, guys like that and say, how did they do it and how did they have success with it, and people will follow similar routes. So we're in a unique
Right.
time, and you being a producer are definitely more behind the curtains than most people are ever going to be. So it's
Well,
like,
and one of the things that's kind of like rough about my like choosing of like I'm in front of the camera guy. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm an actor. I love performing. So Scotty always says that like the Scotty real character that he, you know, like the character of Scotty that he plays on the dude, it's just him times two. And I always joke that the Grambo character is me divided by four. Like I can't give my whole, you know, the dude Rose would be nothing but me talking if I fucking piped up all the time. So I really take my role, like stay in the background, pipe up if you actually have something to say. But this gives me that opportunity. I was in Vegas and I was walking around and I was filming for Jaron and Gabe out in Vegas for MJ BizCon. And I was just walking around filming. I'm like, you know, I should really be hosting this thing. You know, I was like hosting and being funny and making weed jokes and making stoners laugh. That's kind of like my thing. So yeah, I doubled down after that. So yeah, this is me. I'm full in on cannabis tops. I'm 100% in.
well, we love having you here, man, because you're dedicated to what you do. You're like, you're not just here for the money. You're here because you love doing it. So it's
No, and it's the money's tough, right? Like every single, like one of the things I almost quit this channel. The first video I ever posted got age gated and like just taken down. Like the first time, all of my shorts, all of my videos, every video I posted has gotten taken down, and I've had to re-edit it and post. If you go to my videos, you'll notice all of them say re-upload at the end because every fucking video has gotten taken down yet. And you know, that's why I like the lives. They're safe until you click end stream. They don't take you down until you click end stream. So as long as we're live, we're safe, tops. We can do whatever we want.
okay. So that's okay. Now I'm understanding a little more.
Yeah.
Once you're
Some
not live, like you
yeah,
got.
there's channels like Come Town. If you ever heard of this stand-up comedy channel, they're really edgy sort of comedy. They have a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week stream. So that way, because everything they post gets taken down, so they just stay live. They have a computer server live 24 hours a day, just playing their stuff, and they can never be taken down. Kind of
Oh,
funny.
that's great. Do
Yeah, it's all
you
about
have?
we.
I
Oh
was
wait,
gonna say, do you have any plants growing right now, Grambo? You got some veg and
I,
plants?
I do. I got some flowering plants. Funnily enough, I didn't plan it to be this, but cut down is 419. It just so
Ah,
happened to work out that way. So I
that's
got the JR shipped me in some emergency that came in that won the DGC Cup a couple of years ago. So I guess he's been holding on to the cut. And tops, I'm telling you, man, I got fan leaves that are sugar leaves. Like the fan leaves are fucking sugary, and then the big old petals, you know, all down the fucking stem of the petiole, it's just covered in trikes. I don't think I've ever seen a strain so freaking frosty. I was actually thinking about asking Hot Rod or you. I don't know who has the technology, but I'll probably end up with like about half a pound or so. So I was thinking maybe just fucking hash it all, you know, fuck it.
Yeah, if you're looking to do something like that, hot rods would be probably your guy. My buddy down in southern Colorado, where we're doing all the hash, um, we're trying to get everything still dialed in with his setup, but I would imagine that he's not going to want to do a run unless there's probably like 2 pounds, 2 pounds of
Mhm.
material. Because it's like,
Yeah, so I've been here with blasting. You got a 2 or 3, right? Usually.
well, and so the thing is like when you're doing that, it's the same amount of work, like whether you're running a half pound or you're running 3 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like getting everything out, getting all the kitchen utensils out, and like getting all the ingredients out, and like only making one cake. When like if you
Right.
know you're gonna need cakes for like an event or something, like you don't just make one cake, you make 12 cakes. You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
it just depends. But I mean, if you have like a chest freezer, maybe you can like put a run in the chest freezer, and then you can do another run and get some material built up, you know what I mean? And then like anybody will want to run it because a larger run, and then they'll just take a percentage and give you back the rest of the hash.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking probably just because I love this emergency. If Hot Rod can help me, I'm just gonna fuck a percentage. I'll pay you. I want all of it. Scott, he did Scott's emergency and he turned it into rosin. And dude, I smoked the best hash humanly possible throughout my friends. The good dispensary stuff, Laser Cat, Dab Logic. So I find my way to the best hashes on earth. And I swear to God, the hot rod press of Scott's Emergency, dude, it might be top 3 dabs I've ever taken in my whole life. Really fucking good.
What's the
Legit.
emergent what's the emergency? What strain is that?
That's a good question. I actually asked JR about that, and he didn't. We did a live just like this, and I asked him, and he got distracted by something and never answered. So, I don't know. Does anyone in chat? We got almost 100 hardcore fucking Gram fam in the fucking chat. If anyone knows what the emergency is, or if you want to hit up JR and bug him, fuck it. Some of you know him.
Yeah, I could always look it up on Google too. I just took a couple dabs, so I'm running a little slow. I'm running a little slow right now, but yeah, I'll have to look that up. I have that. What is that? The Orange Gasm from Irie Jeff. I still want to
Yeah,
run. I still want to run that. Those are
yeah.
fems
The
too,
dude
right?
has been doing I don't know, fucking. I haven't. I never run any Rasta Jeff's gear because I don't like the goats and the islands and the Durbans of the world, and it seems like that's a lot of what his males are. So I don't know. Like, does the do the gas? I mean, obviously the gas flavors have to be coming through his genetics, but I've always been weary. It's like I don't know. I don't like the Durban. I don't like the goat. I don't like. I don't know. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, to each their own. You know what I mean? Not each one is going to be for everybody, man.
I would
Are you are
fucking
are you
Burger has a
growing?
lyric where he's like, 100 million days, got your boy in a hay, OG, no haze. And I was like, I always love that lyric. OG, no haze. Come on.
See, I like smoking haze. I'm a big fan of super lemon haze, but
Yeah, see, that's the sort of
nobody wants to
strain.
grow it. It takes too long for most people.
Yeah, and I don't like the flavor profile. I'm willing to put in the time to pull it out, but man, I just don't like it.
Just not a fan.
Nate C wants to know what the funkiest terp from IRE is. I don't know. I think I covered a strain called Dark Hollow. It's a GMO cross. I would think that's probably pretty funky. I've heard good things about the Dark Hollow.
Yeah, I don't know too many strains of Jeff's category. I know I bought the Orange Gasm because it's like that's like what everyone raves about who
Yeah,
is a follower of his.
the dude is doing a pheno hunt, like a hardcore, very very elaborate pheno hunt on that. So might be worth messing. Well, he's coming from Canada, so he can't bring cuts, but you never know. Sometimes they find a way.
Was he talking about dude was growing the lemon Jeffrey too for a while, wasn't he?
He was, and now with his new Mac Daddy grow room that he built, he's been doing this hardcore pheno hunt through Orange Gasm, so he's gonna find it.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. I hope he finds something
Gobo.
great.
Shout out Rusty Cuffs, the Gobo. You know what a Gobo is, Rusty Cuffs? It's in film. If you see like a thing that casts a shadow on someone's face, like they'll have fake leaves that cast a leaves shadow on people. It's called a Gobo. Shout out to you, Rusty Cuffs.
You learn something every day.
Literally, dude. I try to learn something every day. What's the next thing you learned that blew your mind, Tops? That's a hard question.
It's hard for me to remember, because like I learn stuff like constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, I always get my brain always gets bogged down by Batman. My kid's obsessed with Batman, so all we watch is Batman 24 goddamn hours a day.
So I guess I learned today that Lay's like filed, I guess, a lawsuit or something against Pringles back in the way back, like because it was like when potato chips were like coming to rise in this country. And I guess they got into it with Pringles because in the beginning, Pringles was trying to claim that they were a potato chip.
Huh.
And they're
well,
not.
Aren't they?
No.
Pringles isn't a potato chip.
No, and they actually got sued for it, and they had to take it off of their cans.
Whoa.
So
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because and then Pringles was like, well, what are we going to do now? We can't call them potato chips. And then the CEO was like, we're just going to call them Pringles. And it ended up being like one of the most genius moves they made. I'm going to
That's fucking crazy. That obviously that triggers in my mind any of you guys that know the Mitch Hedberg joke about Pringles. He's like, oh, I just think Pringles is a cool company, man. I think on the first day they were supposed to make tennis ball, but potatoes showed up and they're like, fuck it, cut them up.
I'm not like a huge fan of Pringles. I mean, they're all right, but I'm definitely after watching that thing on History Channel, I went to the grocery store and got some Lay's potato chips. It like made me want the chips.
I hope Sir Hunt a lot is wrong here. Pringles started as a liquid? Get out of here. No. Hey, James is in the house. What's up, buddy?
Are you growing?
As a stand-up comedian, we all have a good Mitch Hedberg impression. All we do is smoke bowls and trade Mitch Hedberg jokes. Fuck it, man. Cut them up.
Oh, man.
All right, we got fucking another friend in. So I want to talk about hash and Coco and everything with you guys. So I sent out the bat signal to everyone. It's like, who grows in Coco? Surprisingly, not a ton of people. Like I thought it was going to be like damn near everybody, right? But turned out to only be a handful of friends.
Yeah, see, I love Coco. It's very simple for me personally, and it's very forgiving in a lot of different ways.
I agree. That's why I put out a little thing. Well, we'll bring in. I brought in Canorado Chris, our buddy.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Reese's
What's going
hoodie.
on, buddy?
What the fuck?
I get hungry, man. You know.
You ready? I want you to hop in my fucking Halloween trick or treat basket, bro.
I got the flowers, man. What's up? Bring the dank.
How you doing, bro?
Good. How are you, Tops?
Good, man. Good. I see you repping your Canna hat. I'm repping my hydroponic research hat too. So we both got the nutrient companies. Do you grow with Canna?
No, I just use their Coco, man. That's why I put it on instead of DGC.
that's the Coco I use too.
Yeah.
It's clean.
Yeah, I did the Amazon thing where I got the brick, and I was wondering why there was weird bugs and stuff like that, because everyone else I talked to, they were like, that's the cleanest way to do it other than hydro, man. it's clean. And then did the research and found out it matters where you get your cocoa from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
That was one of the main things that we found. So like it was always confusing to me. I always have used Canna. You know, I'm a Scotty Real disciple. So coming from that, he's just like Canna Coco, man. And so all my time growing, pretty much my whole life, I've never used CalMag ever, never owned a
Okay.
bottle of it. I've never mixed it into a solution ever, and it's always everyone's secret weapon. So then Scott is doing trials for the real buckets to figure out like, is there a brick cocoa that he can include? That so he's trying everything. He's trying bags, bricks, pith, everything in between, and he finds that when he uses like anything like Cyatetics from like the New Millennium homies or Canna, or any of like the major brands, like everything's fine, right?
Right.
But the
How are you
minute
going to fit this? How are you going to fit this into that bucket and ship it, man? Because this
well,
is a,
funnily enough, I don't know if I'm allowed to
that's a
spoil it,
small.
but let's just say hypothetically, there might have been a Canna Real Growers collab coming down the
Oh,
pipe,
wow.
So go down. I know Scott won't be too mad at me if I say go to realgrowlab.com. He's opening up a specific site just for his own people that do the real bucket system. So realgrowlab.com. There's my shout out. Fuck you, Scotty. Now I can say what I want.
Yeah, we hopped up on that as soon as I saw that it came out, man, and it's all the same guys, but it's just another venue, But it's fun.
Well, this is kind of the beta test. He launched it out to all the homies to
Right.
like get a feel of like, what's it going to be like. And then once all the DGC Real Growers crew give the thumbs up, he's going to bust it out to the world. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, like right now, you're not lost in that ocean of that you think the DGC because there's so many of us, So right now, it's a little bit more one-on-one with some of these gents that you normally wouldn't have. But I'm sure it's going to blow up too. I mean, I've grown 2-3 times. I have the 1.0 buckets and the 2.0 buckets, and I've rocked it both times.
You had good success with the buckets?
Yeah, I did. I did. I mean, it's pretty much set it and forget it. I did notice that some of these bigger plants, I grew some autoflowers that got pretty damn big, and I did run into a little bit of a CalMag issue, and I just started adding a little CalMag in, and it worked. You just have to know the signs, those little rust dots and stuff like that. You're like, oh, here comes something.
Yeah. One of the big things with the real buckets is you got to make sure. So my roommate, Church of Cannabis Nate, he's never really grown before weeds his whole life, but he's never really grown. So he did the first run of real buckets and it went great. It went perfectly. So I just let him do it all by himself the next time, and we didn't fully saturate the medium. He just thought it would wick up, but it never wicked up. So the
Oh
first
no.
like week of flower, there's no freaking moisture, so it started yellowing out. And so yeah, you got to make sure you wet the medium good so that way the dots activate. Very
Oh, and
cool.
then the other thing was, no matter what, if it says it comes from the factory set a certain way, don't trust anybody. Take that measurement because mine were getting too saturated. Once I got it going, the float valve was in the wrong spot. So my girls were growing, but sluggily and not with that vigor it should have been. And then I go and I measure, and I'm like, there it is, because they only want to sit in that 2 inches of water. Anything more than that starts getting waterlogged.
Fascinating. Yeah, Scott always said that you're the first person to encounter it out in the wild, so that's good feedback.
Yeah.
It's weird to like hear. It's not weird, I guess. It's just there's so many different ways of like skinning this cat. Like for me, um, like I like to make reservoirs, and then I made my own irrigation system with PVC pipe that comes up out of my reservoir, and then it goes into like a 3/4 inch hose line, which then goes into my tent, which then has a bunch of 3/4 inch, no, not 3/4 inch, 1/4 inch, like spaghetti lines that come
Okay.
off of it. And then my plants water like 6 times a day. when they're in flower. Like I'll have a timer set to kick on like 30 seconds and it turns off. And then they'll feed again in like 2 more hours. And that's just so that I don't have any excessive salt buildup. But for me, that's just like textbook style cocoa growing. And that's like how I learned how to do it on a massive scale. And then I just took what I was learning from, massive grows and was like, oh, I can make a drip system for 5 plants. And like I was able to do that with like under $200 in material. So I guess it's just like it's what works for you, because like I get great results, so like I don't want to change it. But like if I did want to change it, then I would probably want to do the real buckets. But I've never built one, so I'd have to like sit there and watch a video and just kind of make sure and do it slowly and just make sure I do it correctly.
Yeah, I just Scotty started to come up with them, and the first time I heard him say, "Hey, we're gonna offer it where it's already built and everything. All you have to do is plug in the gaskets and the hoses," I was like, "Man, here's my money to help support you." I could have probably done it at Home Depot, but hey, man, that was a lot of holes to drill. So I was just like, no. So I threw out the money, and then
he was teaching everyone to do it for
Yep.
free, right? And then a lot
Yep.
of the feedback that he was getting was like, "We love it, but we're too lazy. Like, thanks,
Right.
no thanks." And he's just like, "Man, if people tried these, I think they'd really like them." So he started building them with Warehouse Kyle, like
Right.
at night, literally like your dad. I'm gonna go take a beer at Hank Hill and go out. And it started so organic. I was telling him he should go on Shark Tank. Like,
Right.
it's going to change the world. Like, how funny would it be if Scott and High C, Scott and his family, and then he brought High C in a suit with tattoos all over his face? He'd break their brains.
Mark,
Right.
Mark Cuban would definitely want to sign a deal.
Dude, right? Because, yeah, I mean, I always tell Scott, I don't even think he realizes. I was like, dude, you've come up with something that like the soccer moms, not like us, right? We like making newts. We like futzing with new stuff. We like trying
Right.
out hot rodding our grows and ways. But as far as like someone who's too busy, some corporate professional or some busy person or housewife or great grandma, though that system is built for them. Like you can grow not 100% of the dank, but 85.
And
Yeah.
set
get there.
and set and forget. Like it's not. There's not as much time. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, like you said, somebody that works a 9 to 5, and then they have 2 kids, and they have responsibility in A and B that they have to attend to. They can kind of just check up on their plants at the end of the night, like before they turn it in for the evening, and maybe do a little bit of defoliating or a little bit of topping and like managing
That's
the
the whole
canopy.
the plant shaping is the one plant, because I notice it with my roommate who doesn't know how to grow. With this system, he can like grow almost anything, but then when it comes to like topping, plant shaping, defan, like anything that's the mechanical part of growing, he's just completely clueless. And I've been doing it so long, I forget. It's like, oh, I don't even think. You just, oh, that one needs to go under the scrog like this. Like you don't even think about it. It feels good to like be so intimate with the plant that I remember I used to be nervous. You guys remember when you used to be nervous? We'll start with you. How long you guys been growing? We'll start with Tops. How long you been growing, buddy?
15 years now. So
Nice.
I started when I was 15. My dad built me like a little. We had a spot on the side of our house that was for firewood, and like it had a roof over it, and it had a wall. So he built me.
What do you need?
He built me another wall. So and then put a door in it with a key. So like I had like I don't know, like a 10 by 8 little area, and we went to Home Depot and we bought like one of those plastic sheds like that you put like lawn equipment in when you're done with it. And dude, it was nuts, bro. Like I went to the only hydroponic store in New Jersey at the time. There was one. It was in Camden, and I took
Isn't that like the murder capital of Jersey?
yeah, it's a really bad area. But I
Yeah.
I took my aunt's car. I went to the hydro store, and I already had a job at the time, so I took like probably $1,000 because I got 1,000 watt high pressure sodium light and a ballast. I got Fox Farm soil. I got the Fox Farm Trio pack of nutrients, and I got Bud Candy from Advanced Nutrients. I got the
You can't
pH
say
up
no
and
to Bud
down
Candy.
liquid.
Bud
Yeah,
Candy, I
dude,
was
it
thinking of it.
was
It was like the clickbait of the hydro store. It was the clickbait thumbnail. You couldn't say no to it.
so I was in for a war. I was in for it though because I had no idea like how much heat like this light put off. So like I like hung it in this like plastic Home Depot shed that I got, and it was really really hot. So I had to get an exhaust fan at that point, and like I had that drilled into the bottom. It was crazy. I was 15 and I had no idea what I was getting into, but I had a good harvest my first time. It was beginner's luck, and I made it across the finish line, so that was pretty sweet.
Nice. Hell yeah. I can't imagine
That's
how
crazy.
pliable that shed must have been. You could probably poke your fucking
Oh,
finger
dude,
through
just
it.
lean your hand in it, dude. Just
It's like
I'm
Freddy
lu-
Krueger when he pushed his face through the wall.
I'm really lucky I didn't melt the fucking that shed and catch my house on fire. But hey, yeah, shout out to my dad for letting me do it.
That's fucking
That's great.
awesome. What about you, Chris? How long you been growing, man? You just look like an OG.
um, I ran was on the side of a mountain for about a year, guerrilla growing, and basically I just learned how to take care of it. You know, it was basically these guys that own this setup, and all they did was come put the plants in there. I made sure we watered it, and when you heard helicopters and stuff, you pulled it in under the shade. So, um,
Oh my god.
but living in a tent with a couple guys and having to hitchhike to the nearest town to get cleaned up once a week, that wasn't for me. I learned. So 2020 here, my father and I were talking, and he goes, "Hey, wouldn't it be cheaper if you grew it instead of going to the dispensary? And you do have your med license, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I had a light in the tent ordered in a day when he was cool with it.
Wow.
So 2020,
That's
I
so cool.
started, and I wasn't sure. I mean, I had a terrible, terrible experience. You know, started dating a girl, thought I could throw it in the closet to dry and be gone, and I came back to this like oregano, and it was terrible.
Oh,
So then I found the DGC and started working, and found out that I wasn't a Mr. Canuck grower because I screwed that up, and I was like, well, let's try this, and I got a cut of JR tokens. Uh, Cherry Paloma, and got some Rasta Jeff Moon Tower, threw it in the tent, had a light, and followed all the regular rules and everything you're supposed to do. And I took down third place DGC 2023. So I grow
That's
that day.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
doesn't
So
that just
for
speak
you.
to now, like you guys? Well, maybe not Tops. I don't know how much Tops remembers before the internet, but I know Chris remembers before the internet. It used to be so freaking hard.
Right.
I have this like a little bit of a bias because I learned to play guitar before the internet, and
Yeah.
it was like, it was hard. And now, like literally, there's YouTube channels devoted to like, oh, here's the finger technique, and here's how you do it, and here's the picking style, and I always like kind of jaded. It's like, I learned before the internet, you goddamn kids.
So
So it,
one of the first times I saw anything about marijuana growing in writing was the Anarchist Cookbook. It had a whole bunch of other shit in it too, but there was a
yeah,
section in there how to guerrilla grow and what to look for, and that was my very first experience seeing it in writing. Other than high times and stuff like that, but it was always illegal.
that's really
yeah,
funny that you mentioned the Anarchist Cookbook because you're not the first person that I've heard say that.
Okay.
So I
that was
know
one of
that.
the only resources back then that had that sort of information. It was very, there was some books, that were out. Jack had his book out, but they weren't as common. I think you could get the Anarchist Cookbook at some libraries.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's just funny how like that word circulates around. You know what I mean? Like before internet, people knew. People
Yeah.
still like got the word out that like, hey, the Anarchist Cookbook is with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's actually how I found the Dude Grow show. Like originally as a fan, I had always been taught by my friends, the good old boy crew. You know, they grew with aeroponics and stuff, and I'd take care of their plants when they'd go out of town. And then 2014, I was gearing up to move here, and I was going to be, well, we'll say allegedly, my brother Tosh, as we like to say,
Right.
and he was going to run a house that had 299 plant counts to it.
Oh,
And so they were the front family of the house, you know. And so we'd go to the freaking power company in Denver and pay our $2,000 a month power bill in cash, you know, all in hundreds. Just flap, 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 flap. And those were the days. So I was running freaking 180 plants on a flip box. And so we had 8 ballasts that would run 24 hours a day, 8
oh my.
lights in room A, 8 lights in room B. Crazy. And I remember I had to learn how to grow the best herb possible. And all the podcasts were kind of boring except for this Dude Grow show, which was on episode 13.
Oh, wow.
And we just wrapped episode 1638.
Nice.
So, ironically, I think Doc, shit, I'm blanking on his name right now. Doc 303. No, shit, I can't remember. And then and then JR Token was the second DGC, and I think I'm the third DGC. Legitimately,
Wow.
like how weird is that? That it all came full circle like that. So bizarre.
Yeah,
It was meant to happen.
I can't believe how welcoming the DGC is to the family. I mean, the first show I went to, I was on the fence about what I was doing, didn't know whether it was great or not. Started smoking and talking to people, and then the next year I came back with a vengeance and had a lot of help from the DGC people, and that's where I knew that I could do something with this, you know. So now we've got podcasts, and we're getting support from nutrient companies and other places like that. So I'm starting to see stuff come to fruition. It takes a little while, you know. These guys that
What
everyone
nutrients do you
looks up
run?
to been doing it for a long time, you know.
So you mentioned you don't run Canna. What nutrients do you run?
I run Foop Organics, and I run the dots with Recharge.
Okay.
Foop, it was designed for a soil medium, so we have to add some CalMag every once in a while, like I said, when we're watering that way. And every once in a while, a strain will need more. Even with the grow dots, every once in a while, you just have to throw something in there to help it out. But the one thing
so I invited Taking Tops on here. I'm going to out Tops because I just went to see. It's like, where's Tops? And I just got a message. It says taking a quick poop, and then I'm ready. Shout out to you, Hot Rod. Did I say Tops or Hot Rod?
Yeah, you said Hot Rod.
Okay.
I mean,
like,
Tops.
I'm dyslexic, so I always have to I don't remember. I was like, did I just say Tops? I feel like I said Tops. I didn't realize I was dyslexic until I started doing stand-up, and I record myself and listen back, and I started realizing, like, dude, my recollection is that I said that correctly. I remember saying it the right way, and then no, I just jumble shit left and right. I literally tell people, I can't read. Don't send me messages. I can't read.
So another thing I found with Coco is it depends on how you're watering. Like in Scotty's buckets, you don't need to use any like perlite or anything like that because of the wicking system. The only time that you're watering from the top is when you're doing the once a week recharge. Now with the Foop, when we run just Coco, it starts getting compact. That Coco starts to get brick-like again. So Monica, God bless her, she goes in there with that big garden fork and boom, 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 boom in the top so that we can aerate it a little bit so that water gets down in it. So I've started to add pumice from Build-A-Soil in with my mix when we're watering from the top. And I just use like worm castings and insect frass with my buckets and the grow dots.
You don't find that like the aerating, like you don't puncture roots or anything? Does she like go in there like along the edges? How does the aeration work?
To be honest, it scares the crap out of me because she just goes in there and does it, but it doesn't seem to hurt it. Yeah. So She grabbed a pair of. Thank God they weren't my Fiskars. I would have been pissed. But she grabbed a pair of snips and put it in there and let them open. Put it in there and let them open, and aerated it, and seemed to work fine. She did it with Paloma and all these other ones, and she goes, "I haven't screwed anything up, have I?" Ha ha ha.
That's that's
That's
wild.
hilarious.
I've never heard of anybody doing that.
Right, scares the crap out of me. I don't do it.
When I first heard it, I was like, dude, that's genius. Wait, now I'm
I
scared.
don't use perlite or anything like in my like I literally just can of cocoa in the pots and go on. Move it like keep it pushing.
So I'll do because I'm a junior jug dealer now, so I have to do my due diligence of plugging those assholes. Fucking Cyatetics has this awesome, it's a 70-30, just like what like a tuper, like cocoa perlite blend would be, like the tuper. But instead
Right.
of perlite, it's cocoa chips. It's hard cocoa chips for
Really?
drainage. Yeah. And so it doesn't, one of the things that Jay Maestro taught me back in the day is one of the reasons you don't want to use perlite if you don't need the drainage or the aeration, you really don't want to use it because it really hurts your CEC. So like the ions can't really like jump, quantum leap or whatever the fuck they do side to side. So you really don't want to use it. So like one of the cool things is if you do need the drainage, this 70-30 cocoa chips from Cyatetics, I haven't actually ran it, but I think I'm going to run it. I've been running dots on my 2x4. And last night we set up a 5x5 upstairs.
Oh,
My
great.
roommate moved out, so we turned
Yeah.
his room into our new flower room. So I got my
Oh,
five by
that's
five
sweet.
upstairs, my 2x4 downstairs, and so I think I'm going to start vegging downstairs and start running New Millennium upstairs. I've never ran New Mill before, so I want to run the line, see what it's like.
So
How
wait,
many?
are you gonna run two different lines at one
No, I'm
time?
using dots right now to get familiar with it, and then I'm going to stick with the sip buckets. And I don't know, I really don't. I don't know. See, you're immediately poking holes in all of my plans. Like I don't. I'm very ADD. I don't think things out. So I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do.
Yeah. So right now we're running 3 different lines. I've got flowering with the dots. I've got the food, and then we just started with Matt's organics. So
Oh,
I mixed those in the soil last week, and we just transplanted tonight. So they're in their little
shout out to
solo cups,
Matt for
ready to
that.
rock.
Like, it takes a
Yeah,
lot of balls to like do something like that. I sit in the background of these meetings with all these Canna guys. It takes balls to step up like that. So fucking shout out
right.
to Matt. What's it called, Chris? Shout him out.
It's the I can flower power and the I can veg uh, I
Yeah,
can veg pack. Let me grab them real quick.
that's awesome. Even if it sucks, respect.
Right.
Like
You
for
know,
real, it's
here's
hard to pull the trigger on like that. I could
yeah.
not be proud of our boy Matt for stepping up and trying. This is big. So
And then
check it out.
right, and just earlier this year he dropped all of his genetics that he had ready too. So we've got his 4 lines running. Banoffee Pie Head, his Freak Leak, the I Can Gang, and then the Pheno Hunter. So we're running 2 of
Pheno
each one of
Hunter.
those, and they're all females. So we're gonna have a lot of nice flowers here.
Hell yeah.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah. So you just got to remember if you're gonna do stupid stuff like this, labels, sticky notes, yellow caution tape, whatever it is, so that you know the difference. Because I was running organics and I was running liquid nutrients too, and I top dressed the wrong plant, and then I started putting nutrients in the wrong other plants. So you got to make sure you know what you're doing with that. So just got to keep everything separated because it can be dangerous.
That's hilarious.
It's a good word of advice.
So what do you run, Tops? What kind of nutrients do you run?
I run hydroponic research. It's very, very simple. It's called Veg Bloom is like the main part, and I use that all the way through the grow until week 6 of bloom. And once a week for CalMag, I use a product called Stacks. And then once I get into flower, the bloom product by them is called Shine. I start that at week 3, and I run that till week 8, and then I will also run Moab, which is Mother of All Bloom from Mad Farmer, and I'll run that weeks 3, 5, and 7 uh, while I'm in bloom. So my feeding regimen is super simple, and I got it from running the dispensary grow that I was in charge of before I started doing my own little grow. And I just was so comfortable with those nutrients that, and I said, these nutrients grow really good weed in an environment that is very much less than ideal. So I'm gonna take all these products and I'm gonna put them in an environment that is really well kept, and I follow the VPD chart, and my humidity is always on point, and my DLI from my lights is on point. So um, I can grow really good weed, and I can see a deficiency from like a mile and a half away with the nutrients I run. I tried to I tried to switch it up and like run Botanicare, and there was one other. I'm trying to think of what it was. Like it's escaping me right now, but I wasn't having like the good results that I always had with Veg Bloom. So I just went back to the Veg Bloom, and I've been having really good runs with it since.
Yeah,
That's interesting. That just goes to show you don't need the crazy. I grew up running Psycho for my whole time, so I'm very familiar with the 10 bottles. I don't shy away from the 10 bottles, but just proof you don't need it. Tops weed is freaking like legit. I keep reacting. I'm just randomly hitting. I have like a whole gaggle of hashes, and I keep just hitting them blind. And goddamn, dude, that spritzer just keeps blowing my doors off. So
The
doing something
spritzer.
right.
Did you have a Turpicana bucket in there? Did I see?
No, that was the tray,
Oh,
the the
oh,
the threes. But the next time, because I left my vaporizer over at Top's house, so I gotta. How often do you go over to Adams? Do you guys ever hang out over Adams thing on Friday?
yeah. I'm always there. Well, not always there,
Yeah.
but like I'm typically there.
Well, let me know the next time you go. I'll meet you over there and get my vape back, and I'll get some. I want to get some of the Tropicana next time. The Globfather's so good. I want to try the other half.
The white lemon heads, dude. You want to try the white lemon heads?
Ooh, I do. I do.
Hey, let me know when you're rolling through town because I know that you pass by my house pretty often, Grambo. I need to
Oh
pick
yeah.
up some of that Globfather stuff too. I'm good for it.
Let's go. Let's come in force on Adam Dunn's place.
Right?
I
Damn,
I don't
Grandpa,
live
you
very
got a
far
good
from
one.
there. I got a full fit on that one.
Because I wanted to tell you, Tops, that I dig the photos of where your slaps end up and how you post those on Instagram. I mean, the Globfather's all over the place in Denver. Man, I've seen it.
No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, dude. If you're ever around, man, just if you're ever like in the Lakewood area, just hit me up, man. We can link up.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I'm up in Northland, so I mean, we're not too far away.
Oh, hell
Local
yeah,
boys.
man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Smokey shouted out the winter frost, so I'll take an opportunity to give you guys, like either the two of you, you guys ever want to run anything New Mill or the Cyatetics? They have the powdered grow line, like and it's really really top shelf for the powders. The Cyatetics is really awesome. You guys ever want to try any of that? Come hit us up. We'll freaking make sure you get taken care of.
I
So winter
actually
frost is what I'm interested in. I mean, just the results and what you guys talk about and everything else. It's just amazing what that product does. And
What day is
I
it?
mean,
Sunday. I'm picking up a bottle for myself because I am harvesting in like a week, 2 weeks, and fucking. So I'm gonna go pick up a bottle myself. So I'll grab you a winter. I'll grab a couple winter frost for you boys for a thank you for doing the stream.
I appreciate it, man. That works out. We're on almost starting week 6 of Westport's posse, the testers, and those are
Oh,
in
nice.
they're in the 2.0 buckets. So winter frost is getting close then, right?
Panorado Chris, you are like the bearer of the like, you know, you're like holding it down like for the Colorado seeds. Like I'm in grow buckets with ICANN, with freaking Westport, with fucking, you know, I was like, damn, bro, thanks for
Yeah.
holding it.
I mean, ever since I saw you guys do it with the DGC, and the first time that when Scotty brought me on after the win, I just fell in love with the whole scene and the group and what you guys were doing. And I was like, I wonder if I could add my 2 cents to it. And it started to fall together. So Matt's having me on, and it just started to blow up. So I want to say thank you. I mean, I know you're part of it too, all of you guys, the big scene. So we got to hang out and stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
I always make a joke of like there'd be a funny meme. I always think of like what people think Grambo is doing, what he's actually doing. Like what people think I'm doing is like in a strip club. You know,
Right.
what I'm actually doing is like sitting alone, taking dabs, and like being lonely. You
Right.
know, like yeah, I got to be more social. That's what I was thinking about the Adam Dunn hangout. It's like, man,
Yeah.
Fridays. I don't work on Fridays, so it's like I could fucking easily go hang out, do the happy hour, hang out on the happy hour from Adam's place, trick Adam into coming on.
Well, what's
Yeah.
nice, they have barbecue at Adam's spot too. So
Yeah.
go get some fire brisket and some chicken wings from Vinny and watch the show.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's amazing. So what's some tips and tricks you guys got? So this is one of the things like for me, it's like when I started growing with Coco, like one of the things that when I learned the term called funneling, like this is like something that like it immediately hit me. It always annoyed me that like every time that I would freaking go, it puddles on the surface, you know, and then like it all will start to funnel into the middle, and then you start getting drainage from the middle of your pot. It's just like a liquid tube, just like goes down. It's completely dry on the sides, like a liquid elevator, and it just starts draining. And you think, oh, I'm 10% draining. I don't have to dry this. So one of my like things that I started doing was I would go through with like a watering can and wet the tops of all of my shit. Like just as I like you smoking a joint, I'd wet all the tops. Then I'd start mixing my reservoir. And like by the time my reservoir was mixed, everything was nice and like kind of evenly wet on the top. So that way when I had a sump pump with the frickin', you know, the wand on a
Right.
hose sort of setup, you know. So by the time I come in with the wand and I dump on them, they were ready to accept that
The
water. So that's
water.
always one of the things I told people is that that pre-wetting can, it's not as bad as peat, obviously, but you let cocoa get too dry, it kind of turns a little hydrophobic, just a teeny bit.
So we don't run into that problem only because of how much we water. When I'm watering from the top, I water it. We water every day. So 6 days a week it's nutrients, and then one day a week it's recharge. And then if I have to add my cow mag, so the cocoa's constantly wet. If anything, people would yell at me for no dryback. But I think that Tops waters his all day long too. So, I mean, it's hydroponics when you're running pretty much straight cocoa, so you can feed the hell out of it. If if you have it up a little bit so it's not sitting in the water, I mean, who cares if it runs through? Other than how much are you spending on nutrients?
I always kind
Yeah,
of think cocoa is like a built-in dry back, you know, like I just feel like there's so much air in it.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's also just like I was saying in the beginning of the chat, like it's so forgiving. In like the ways of like the only time you really have to worry about like drowning your plant out is like when they're small. You know what I mean? Like when you like get them like from the clone, like if you like take them right from a rock wool and like get them into some cocoa and you just keep drenching them, like you will
yes,
kill it. You
yep.
will kill it.
All right,
But
and what's just to not to cut you off, but I have to address something here. So on the Dude Grow show, I was baked on edibles last week, and Scott's like, "Grambo, how much you pulling out of that 2x4?" And I meant to say 2 grams per watt, and
Okay.
I said 2 pounds per light. And
Oh,
so no, I did not pull 2 pounds out. I got just over half pound on a 200-watt LED.
okay.
So I killed it as far
Thank
as like
God, dude. I
he
was like,
goes.
dude, I'm doing something wrong, dude.
I feel
my
like, yeah.
my
And even
numbers
on the
are
show,
so
I was like,
low.
wait, I think I did the math wrong.
Okay, so we addressed, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I'm not that good of a grower.
yeah, so when cocoa gets saturated, it will stay saturated for a little while. So and then it will dry out, but you'll drown, like Top said, you'll drown your new plants.
Do you
So
guys water based on time schedules, or do you on like water levels, weight, tan tops? How do you
Usually,
or you on the schedule?
I go by weight until they're like established. And then once they're like established and like they're like a teenage plant, I can just look under the canopy and look at the top of the cocoa and like, you
Just
know what
judge
I
by
mean?
color.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, if it needs water, I can see it. And I try not to let it get to a point where it's like dry, like you were saying earlier.
yeah,
I want the top of the cocoa to maintain some level of like saturation.
yeah. So usually the first week after I water them in with a little bit of recharge, usually the first week I'll just go in and dampen the top of the cocoa with water. Um, Foop does have a really the 2 week seedling feeding. So sometimes I'll just put that in the spray bottle and I'll spray that on the top of the cocoa just so that I know that the roots are going to get established. But after about the first week, you can start watering and letting the water come out, but just not too often. But as soon as I transplant them into the 1 gallons, 1.5 gallons, it's off to the races. They're getting watered every day. It's just how much do I end up watering it? And that's just from doing it. You learn. You're like, oh, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. You just get used to the way that you water if it's not automated.
Yeah,
So
everybody
Hills
gets a
Grow asked a
system.
question here. He said, "How close to lights off do you water?" And I know that I know everyone's got a different opinion on it, but I believe scientifically that the closest to the 90 minutes after they wake up is when they start drinking the most. If I recall reading from Jorge Savante back in the day, but Bruce Bugby might have said something different.
So my schedule
What do you
turns
guys think?
turns out to be that we're waiting for the lights to come on so that I can get my shit done. Because
Right.
I've got to work and wait until 6 o'clock at night before I can go look at my tent and take care of things. It's just a little much. So I go in, I water, I make sure everything's alive and not falling apart, and then I'm out. That's why I love the real buckets and the grow dots. But I mean, you can water whenever you need to, but you don't want to water at night. I have humidity problems already because the cocoa and the grow buckets, they're always sitting in water. So my fans are always on, once they start getting big. So I don't want extra moisture at night. I'd like the day to have burnt off most of the feeding.
And for me, it's like once my plants are in flower and I'm running that high frequency fertigation, uh, my plants start to feed 1 hour after the lights come on is when they'll get their first shot of feed. And then I stop feeding them 2 to 3 hours before lights go out.
Right.
And if I can time it all like in a perfect world, I like them to get fed that last time 2 hours before the lights go out, so that they're taking that last 2 hours of the light cycle to start the dry back, and then when the lights go out, they're slowly continuing that dry back throughout the rest of the light off cycle. And then when the lights kick on, they still have another hour to continue drying back a little bit. So they're never going to get to like where like they're craving water, but they will like at least dry back a little bit every day, so that when they start to get that feed again, I'm hoping to start getting runoff halfway through the light cycle. So like
Right.
the first time my irrigation kicks on, I don't want there to be runoff. The second time it kicks on, I don't want there to be runoff. I want there to be runoff that third, fourth, and fifth time. And if there's a sixth time, then the sixth time.
Interesting. That's and what size pots do you use?
3 gallon.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like a good setup. What about like when you first pack your pots? Do you guys amend with anything? Like I know some people used to use like glacial rock dust and all sorts of crazy shit. And I know a lot of people will amend with some sort of CalMag or a magnesium type product. Do you guys amend with anything, or you go raw dog?
Raw dog.
My Coco, we since I've been watching a lot of the bigger guys, I'll end up taking a little bit from everything, and it seems to work out. So I use that wiggle worm that you can get on Amazon, nice green bag with the worm and the farmer on the front. I'll mix in a little bit of that, and then I mix in insect frass that I learned from Northern Scrogger. I, so probably three quarters cocoa, and then between the other two, I'll mix it up like that, and I'll just do that at the very beginning, and then that's all I'll do. And then the grow dots when I'm running grow dots. And
That
then
sounds pretty. That sounds pretty synganic, man. You
that's
know
what
what I
I'm
mean?
trying to
Don't
do.
hate don't hate that insect frass. I love that's a good source of chitin. It's yeah, insect frass. That's a good one.
I've been lucky and haven't had bugs. I had silvertails once, and I guess that they had gotten into the reservoir. I had three individual self-watering reservoirs, and I'd water it in, and then it looked like milk coming out of the overflow. And I'm like, "What is that?" And I caught it, and under magnification, it was one of those little silvertails, and not hurting anything, but it was disgusting. Always wiping that crap up and trying to keep everything clean. So all reservoirs and stuff that are in the tent have to be sealed for the most part. Yeah.
What is the wiggle worm? What does that offer?
It's a wiggle worm is the worm castings. It's the Amazon cheap.
Oh,
Uh, I
okay, yeah.
I grabbed it in a pinch and it seems to work. I I don't really want too much living stuff. And when you get small packages from Jeremy, you have live worms in there and stuff like that. And I don't really want to try to take care of that.
See, you're halfway to that old school cocoa amended. Like if you get some glacial rock dust in there, you're on it.
You're right. Just some of this stuff I think is gimmicks, man. To be honest, I put 5 grams of grow dots in cocoa in a solo cup and put it in my windowsill, and I've got a flowered nug in my windowsill. So I haven't re-amended. I haven't done recharge, just water when wet. And I mean, the cola's starting. It's good. I mean, it'll be 3 joints dried at max, but it proves that you can pretty much grow it anyhow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
the show's mascot right now. Just be like, look, anybody can do this.
Yeah, I
That's
had
when
one. I
keep
did
going,
one
Tops.
plant. I did one plant with grow dots, and I had good success with it. I like doing the mad scientist thing. I like mixing my reservoirs. I don't know. For me, that's like my time with my plants is like hanging out, mixing my nutrients, doing all. So but the grow dots would be like ideal for like if I wanted to get like my mom to start growing
Yep.
because my mom smokes a lot. So it'd be like, Mom, get this light on Amazon for
Yeah,
$100, and like take
yeah,
this pack of grow dots, and I've got more seeds than I'll grow in my lifetime. So here's some
Right.
beans, and like let's
yeah.
get you started. You know what I
No, that's
mean?
100% like my thing. Like when I was still doing comedy and I was still making short films and I'm still freelancing, doing other like little things, the grow dots is what I went to. And then now that I got my own like grow channel and I'm just really like grow centric, I go from grow dots to like fuck it, 13 bottles, new mill, let's go, crank it up.
You're out of your
So it's just
mind, dude.
all, I know
Please film
I'm
it.
out of but going from psycho to new millennium, and I'm a jug dealer. I specifically put on my Instagram profile, I'm a junior jug dealer. I'm not a jug dealer. I'm not those guys like legitimately because Gabe and Jaron get all the love, but there's other dudes, Cole and Brandon, fucking Bo Lee. These guys are all of the 5'8" guys are just they are weed freaking geniuses. I really love hanging out with those guys. So yeah, it was awesome to be able to pick your guys' brain. Like anything else, like Coco related, you want people to know about, like because here's the thing that kind of shocked me. I put out a call to action, like a questions. Hey, looking for like tricks on growing with cocoa. I was amazed how many people said they're afraid of it. I was like, to me, it's the easiest like newbie thing. People are like, yeah, I like soil, and I go, how weird. You're afraid of cocoa. I'm afraid of soil.
Right.
What a weird world we're inhabiting in, right? So, like, what else do you guys think about? What else final sort of thoughts you think about cocoa?
So can we start calling you Little Court? That'll go around the jug dealers. We'll call you Little Court.
Little quartz.
but
Big court, baby.
I think that, like how Scotty says, we want to make it as easy as possible and not scare people away. Failures, this day and age in life, and how everything's so easy. A lot of people fail and quit instead of failing, and then conquering. So if you want to get somebody started so that they'll experiment and they'll see the good things and the bad things, you got to get them on their first grow. They have to be able to nail it. And I think that one of the only ways to do that is with cocoa. Because, like we said, if you can put it in a bucket and just self water it, then you're good to go. A little bit of grow dots. Everybody can read an instruction that says 1 tablespoon per gallon. There's 4 gallons that come in this that need to fill. Put a little plant and make sure your lights turn on and off. And success, I mean, it's not going to be what you see on YouTube the first time, but you'll have success and you'll have grown your own stuff and appreciate it and not quit.
Well, we'll start off like that. I like that. We'll do one beginner tip and one advanced tip. You got what sort of beginner tip do you got, Tops? And then I'll get an advanced tip from you in a sec, Chris.
Don't be scared, because like you're gonna kill plants. Like either way, like we all do. Like
And what do you think? What would kill plants? Like from a newbie grower, top 3 things that are going to kill a plant.
Overwatering a plant. Potential.
And is that a problem in cocoa? Have you guys encountered much overwatering?
At the beginning.
Really?
Like just in the beginning, like when you first take
like seedling clone stage.
Yeah, like before it's a teenage plant, like when it's trying.
I don't know why I'm thinking flower. Overwatered flower.
Yeah, when it's like trying to get itself developed in the root space, let it get the oxygen that it needs, and the roots will branch out and search for water in the beginning. So like let them dry back a little bit. Yeah, and exactly. Somebody just said overfeed. That's a very typical thing with cocoa, because everybody thinks in the beginning, like, oh, more means I'm going to have a bigger, stronger plant. And usually you can get away with about half of what it says on the nutrient bottle or chart. You know what I mean?
They always say that you can always add more, but you can never take away.
Well, and for me personally, with the nutrient company I use, I just called a rep directly and was like, hey man, like this is what I'm growing in, and this is my environment. And we sat down and we formulated my nutrient plan together on the phone. So, I mean, like,
that's actually a great tip for new growers. Do not be afraid to dial the number on those bottles. They're not mad to hear from you. These people love talking grow. And if you explain your situation, a lot of these reps are kind of excited to help you through your problems. Not only are they not annoyed you called. So yeah, email or call. That's a great tip for a new grower.
Yeah, build rapport with the companies that you're using, so that, you know what I mean, that relationship and that line of communication is always open, so that you can go back and, you know, ask the questions that you need, so that you can get across the finish line and get the results that you're trying to get. Because when push comes to shove, like, you want to grow your own herb and you want to do it to be self-sufficient, but like you're also trying to do it to save yourself money. So like do it efficiently.
Yes. The money saving aspect, it's almost preposterous if you're a heavy smoker. When you figure out how much money, like that initial, they say buy once, cry once, you know, once you've purchased your equipment and all of your like major purchases you need to get, dude, you get pounds of weed for pennies on the dollar. It's pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, you just gotta put in a little, like, well, not a little bit. You got to put in the time and you got to put in the energy. But I mean, if you're trying to like completely offset your smoking bill, then like
Mhm.
that's you got to put in some time and some
For
effort, you
new
know?
growers, I always use the analogy of it's like being a mechanic, right? Like for me, if something goes wrong in my car, it's like an alien spaceship. But my buddy that knows, he's like, dude, it's 3 bolts,
Right.
just 3 bolts. So once you know how to tinker it, it's literally, it could not be easier. It's just that initial time suck, killing plants, under harvesting. That was my big thing. Was I was I was growing in winter, and my grow room was a attached garage, and we had a spigot like water in there. I was like, oh, it's perfect. But that water was coming out cold as fuck, and so I was hurting the roots for like the first like 4 harvests. I couldn't figure out what the hell, and then so I started adding. I would get a pot of boiling water, and I'd add it to my water. And so 300-degree water with my 30-degree water or 40-degree water averaged out to about 70.
Yeah, that's like what I do, and my because my reservoirs are just in my garage, and it's fucking can get down to like if it's like a really really cold time in Denver, it can get down to like -10 here. So like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got I've
Right.
got reservoirs, 50-gallon reses in the garage with water. But if you have like you go to your grocery store, they have like aquarium heaters, and then
Right.
like you then
Yes.
you set the temperature on that, and I shit you not, like that thing has kept my reservoir at like 72 in the coldest of temperatures. So there's just some pieces of equipment that you're gonna need to, like, if you're gonna do this like hardcore all seasons, all year round. You're gonna have to invest in some gear to make sure you can do it the right way, but like doing it the right way is worth it in my eyes,
That's
personally.
100% true. I moved heaven and earth setting up my environment. My environment was impeccable. And then I'm feeding it 40-degree water and not really thinking about it. I'm just dipping my hand in, like, oh, that's fine. So yeah, that's buy once, cry once. That would be my newbie tip. So what about advanced tips? Let's say I've been growing in cocoa for 10 years. I've been running the same thing. I got my same. But is there anything that comes to your guys' mind? Like, is there anything you can do to kind of no pun intended, with hot rod didn't show up, but fucking, what can you do to hot rod your grow with cocoa? Is there anything like, is there any vegging tips, flower tips, like seedling cut stage? Like, I've been growing forever. Like, what's the thing you've learned over your years that you'd be surprised if anyone else out there knew? Anything come to mind?
Hmm.
Well, it's
With
one of those tough
with
questions,
Coco,
right?
right?
It's like don't think of a pink elephant. It's like you immediately think of it, and then you'll be
No,
going to bed tonight. You'll be like, son of a bitch, this thing.
the secret that I would, the one thing I is if you do your research with your nutrients, usually there's something that these guys have that's like a kicker that differentiates them from somebody else. We found Fook because they were giving away. It was buy a starter set, get a buddy a starter set. So I was like, why not? $85, and I won the contest, and I was like, man, this is great. I can say it's organic and it's liquid, synganic, I guess, however you want to put it. Uh, but their sweetener stands alone because it's a sweetener that ramps up the same way that your A and B ramps up, and then it ramps down at the end. And I haven't seen trichome production other than with the New Millennium Winter Frost, uh, in my opinion. But not everybody takes pictures of their plants and shows it off. But some things just on YouTube and Instagram, I'm not too sure about sometimes.
That's a that's actually a really good one. I'm glad I got you guys on, because that's one I would not have thought about. Every single nutrient line does have something that's there, be it pH or micros or some different formulation of the macros. That's also a big important. Don't overlook those macronutrients or the micronutrients. That shit's
Right.
all the little boron and sulfur and all that stuff. So yeah, that's huge. Make sure that you look into, because we all use Canna Coco, right? But then
Right.
we're not using Canna nutrients. So then we're using some other nutrient that isn't maybe specifically designed for that. So yeah, that's a good one. Make sure the nutrients you're using is built or at least modulated after the fact to suit the cocoa brand that you choose. And I always recommend Canna and Cyatetics. Those are my two fun. Do you have a brand you guys like? And well, let's ask Tops. What you got? What's your more advanced cocoa tip? And then I'll ask you brands and such.
I'm trying to think because, like, for me, like my grow the way I do it is so simple. Like there aren't like any like there's no like groundbreaking techniques that I use in my grow because it's just I learned how to grow in a massive facility with minimum inputs, and they don't really have the time to spend on plants. So the way I was taught to grow was just like so bare bones and like just mainstream to get across the finish line. I'm trying to think of like a complex tip for cocoa. You always
Yeah, it's tough,
use
right?
use microbes because a lot of people are under the impression that microbes don't won't they won't work in salts. They won't proliferate in salts, and like they will. Um, in super high salt mixes, they won't thrive as well. But like if you keep inoculating your cocoa with fresh microbes, like you will have living things in your biome. So just take care of your cocoa, and also you can reuse it.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might be like a beginner thing, but a lot of people might not know that. Like as long as
Yeah,
you're not
I don't think a lot of people do. And in fact, I've been hearing from a lot of OG cocoa growers that their fourth, fifth, and sixth uses of it end up
Yep.
unlocking like the CEC of it ends up being a lot more free. I find that fascinating. I wonder why.
Yeah, once you get it down and you're not having bugs or anything like that, because I mean, I I go in. I'm not very cautious about my grow room. You know, I'll wear my shoes from outside in my grow room and stuff like that. But I only had bugs when I was using soil. Other than that, I haven't had the bugs, and cocoa is the answer. And I did forget to mention my secret ingredient. I put in biochar, and the reason
Oh
why I
wow,
do that is because
microbe
it's
home,
like
right?
a hard sponge, and there's all that place for the microbes to go. And Foop came out with their pre-inoculated biochar, so it already starts when you mix it into your cocoa. So the more places for
That's
those
smart.
microbes, because it is important. And with the
Yeah.
recharge, you're constantly bombarding thousands and thousands and thousands of them.
Well, now it's 100%. Now you need the fucking glacial rock dust because now you've got all of it. You're the amender, my friend. You are the
Right.
cocoa amender. I remember someone's recipe. It might have even been Scott back in the day. It was like worm castings, biochar. So you gotta get that glacial rock dust in there, homie. But that's a good one, Tom. See, we've been us cocoa growers. We're so freaking microbe centric that I didn't even think about that as one of my tips, but holy crap, that's a huge freaking tip. You must have microbes. So obviously, I am definitely not going to whore out recharge. All the 162 people in the chat, you all fuckers are well aware of what recharge is and how
Right.
awesome it is. So we won't whore out recharge. Other than recharge, you guys got anything that you like to put in there? Does like use any guanos or anything to get microbes in there? Any products or amendments you like in there? Or you just go recharge?
for to be honest, yeah, dude, I'm not even like sucking anybody's dick, man. It's just it's good. It's got
Yeah.
everything. It's got everything in it that like for what a cocoa grow is to be adding recharge in once a week. Like I've already got my micro and macronutrients dialed. Like my plants don't need anything as far as that goes. So when I'm giving them that recharge once a week, that's like their dessert, or that's like their protein shake or however you want to look at it.
It's the
But
once a week treat.
when I'm giving that to them, that's really the only thing that they like are, I would say that they need.
Because I learned that once you get this down and you find a nutrient that works for you, the cocoa that works for you, and the recharge, then you can play with however many flavors you want to try to grow. You just want to have it down. If you want to be the experimenting type, like I will, but if you want to run the same nutrient line, the cocoa, you can have so many different strains running, and you know it'll turn out right because you have it dialed in, and then it becomes easy. And then you have 18 jars at your house of weed that you can say, oh, I feel like this flavor today, cherry cola or what have you. And it's just easy to grow that kind of stuff. You just have to get it down.
You know what I'm going to try this last week? What do you got there, Tops?
Cherry Paloma.
Oh, nice.
I love that smell, man. It's got
Yeah, it's a good bag of herb too, man. Like really, really pretty weed, man. Came out phenomenal.
Nice.
Did you have the
I
silvery purple color leaves?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, especially towards the end, man. Like they were beautiful. Like yeah, some of these buds are really shout out to Grove Bags too, man, because
Yep.
I harvested this herb probably like 3 months ago, and it's still like as fresh and vibrant as it was when I first brought it down out of the dry tent.
Yeah, you curing them and everything. You like them?
Yeah, it's just, dude. For somebody that wears as many hats as I do, I need to be able, like, when I'm like to the drying phase and to the cure, I can't be burping jars multiple times a day. Like, I'll forget to put the lids back on and like go start doing something else, and then like my weed will be fucking potato chipped out. Like so.
Yeah.
The fact that you can just like harvest your bud and put it into one of these, and then like if you are working on a bunch of other weed and you know you're not going to smoke this right away, like
Yep.
heat seal it, and then like you don't even have to worry about it. Your herb just like no worries, it's good.
So I tried every trick on the market to not have to burp jars, whether it was buckets with air running in them, all that crap, and I failure after failure after failure. And somebody said Grove Bags, and I looked them up, found out what they did, and I was like, I'm set. So I went and got a humidor from Amazon that keeps it 60 degrees. Put the Grove Bags, and I slap them in there, and I put the Brovida packs, 4 or 5 of them to keep it about 60%, and it's set.
Oh, you got like a Fort Knox of like curing spots. Is that some cherry P?
Yeah,
That's actually some Mac that I pulled down. Fucking this last is like the last bud of some Mac that came from the 5.8 crew. I've got dozens like these jars, like the smaller ones. I have dozens of them. Like every time one of the good growers comes in, fucking like I'll always like grab something. Now I always put at least a nug or two of like everything great. I'm probably going to bring like every single jar to the DGC Cup. So if guys are at the DGC Cup, I'm just bringing all my fucking jars. I got Jaron weed. I got Peabody weed. I got Adam Dunn weed. I just got every grower map. I got some Scotty weed. I got some Joof loving in her eyes.
We're actually about to run some of Adam Dunn's material for hash rosin next week.
Nice.
Or maybe not next week, probably the following week, but we're going to get the material picked up at least and get it down to
Shout out
my partner's location. Dude, he does a
he's the
killer
best.
job, man. And like we don't know which one of these strains or if they're going to be rosin cuts. Like these are kind of experimental runs. But for the stuff, if it doesn't run for rosin, we're just going to run it for Terpicana. Like if it doesn't wash for BHO, it will 100% blast good for BHO.
Well, see, that's why you guys are in the perfect situation. Like the whole wash or blast debate, taking tops ain't worried about it.
Yeah, I'll do both. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
sick.
whatever one works.
Yeah, we talked about that with Gabe last week, how it's like because blasting is illegal if you don't have the proper paper and equipment and everything, that the market is kind of like instinctively leading towards rosin, but rosin isn't better necessarily, like live resin's pretty goddamn good.
Oh yeah, it's just different, and like you said, like the legalities. Like if you get your door kicked in and you're running a butane setup, that's federal time, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
But if
you're going down.
yeah, but if
Smokey's got
you're
a question about me smoking flower rosin only. I have become not rosin only, but just mainly concentrates. I'm just smoking like I smoke weed. I smoke a joint with Scott every single show.
Right.
You're not when the bakery boss hands you a joint, you don't fucking turn it down. But yeah, home and on the road, like when I'm out and about, I'm smoking a pen. When I'm at home, I'm hitting the Puffco. You sons of bitches, Puffco.
Yeah, my partners
Love you,
they'd
Puffco.
have their Puffcos and everything like that, and I'm a flower smoker. But I did think of hot rod and taking tops with one of my last grows. Turned out to be stringy, spindly due to some heat problems. But I mean the
A good
the
hash weed.
trichomes that were falling off of this plant were ridiculous. I'd go to roll a joint because I got to try it, and there were trichomes everywhere. And I was like, oh, I bet you that would wash or press. So when I hear that you need a pound or two, I was like, nah, that didn't bring down that much.
Yeah.
see, well, and so when I say like you need a pound or two, I just say for it to be worth a lot of people's time. You
Right.
know what
Yeah,
I
I've heard,
mean? Like
yeah.
I told Graham, like you could get all the stuff out and get but then it's like you gotta like this dude has to you gotta compensate him somehow, and you're either gonna have to pay him or you're gonna have to give him a percent, and
Right.
either which you would ideally you would want to have a little more material, so it's not only worth it for him, it's also worth it for you, the
Right.
person that's getting the stuff ran, you know.
Because my thing was, I'm not going to smoke it, and I don't know how to do it. So it's probably going to hit the trash can. I can only make so many edibles and stuff like that. Back in the day, you would never hear that. There's not terrible weed that you throw in the trash. Smoke it all, but not compared to what we're growing. One mistake in your tent, like, hey, everyone looks up to us, but we still make mistakes too. Those autos grew right into the light and said, heat stroke, and never recovered quite like they should have.
You know
Have
what's been my shocking revelation? Because now that I get to meet all the biggest players in the game, they're all fucking just people.
Right.
Boring, dumb people that make mistakes and F up and they forget more than they remember. Everyone's just people, man. So all you newer growers, shit, you're just as good as all the old heads.
Hey, yeah,
Maybe
speaking
not
on
as
that,
good, but
we had James Loud on our show yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, day podcast 7, and
you
James
shout out
Loud
your
is
show. You have one of the most. Well, go ahead and say it, and then I'll give you my take.
all right. So we do this Seed to Harvest podcast thing, and it's me, Rue, and El Connoisseur. And yesterday, James Loud was like, hey, can I be on the show? And it was amazing. Had to look up
That's so cool.
exactly who he was right before the show to find out what he did. But to have that guy on our show, it meant a lot to us. And it means that we're making some waves. So Seed the Harvest podcast, Saturdays, 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
So
That's
there's a
awesome.
concept of what the reason I've gotten like good at YouTubing is there's this concept called algorithmic discoverability, right? Like
Yep.
it's not about how good your packaging and your click through rate and how like clickable you are, how discoverable are you? A 20% click through rate on 100 impressions. I'll take a 1% click through rate on a million impressions, right? So
Right.
a million discoverable. And so I've gone through YouTube's cannabis discoverability. I've not, they don't have them. I've created my own cannabis YouTube discoverability charts. And my friend, just so you know, whether you did it on purpose or accidentally, you have stumbled upon the number one algorithmically discoverable phrase in cannabis YouTubery: seed to harvest. So you're about to blow the fuck up. Congratulations. I don't know how the fuck you found it, but you did. To the point where I swear to God, and don't take this as me ripping you off. Where's my phone? I'll show you. It's been in there for like 3 months. The next video is called Seed to Harvest, a Cannabis Grower's Guide to Growing in Coco. So watch out for this video, and you guys will be featured in that video eventually when it comes out. So seed to harvest is the most discoverable phrase on the internet. So you're about to blow up. So
That's
bring
awesome.
me on your fucking podcast. I
For
want to
sure.
be on.
Yep. Elle and I were just talking one day, and we were like, hey, if we grew with the community, picked a strain, grew with it, and it just all fell into place. And he goes, Seed to Harvest videos are everywhere, but there isn't one that's a Seed to Harvest podcast. So,
I
boom,
will
there
give
it
you
is.
guys credit for as genius. I didn't know that you guys were even the ones that did it when I first saw it. But you know how I saw it? YouTube fucking recommended it, baby. That's
Sweet.
you're
Right on.
discoverable. You're discoverable. And I was like, who the fuck called their shit Seed to Harvest? That's genius.
Doing it right, dude.
Bastards. Yeah, bastard. Right. But then speaking of the fucking Globfather over here running a brilliant marketing campaign on his own with
Right.
Tropicana. I've
Yep.
been seeing those stickers everywhere, dude. Like Tropicana's taken off.
Little
Tropicana,
Tropicana.
baby.
Yeah, that is cool.
Love it.
Dude,
And
Yep.
it tastes just as good as you would think it does. It's not just marketing.
We're gonna be at the cup heavy, dude. Tropicana has its own booth right next to mine, so we're gonna be going nuts, dude.
That's so sick. Well, I know I'll be bringing my wallet. I'm buying one of everything. God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll hook up. We'll definitely hook up. I was talking about a table there this year, and Mo was like, we're not there yet. You can wait a year or two, but definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well,
it's
shout out
gonna
Chaz.
be
You
so
have
much
a
fun.
following in Minnesota. The Twin Cities is one of my favorite places ever. I've seen every heavy metal band on earth at the XL Energy Center. So love back to you, Minnesota. Well, dudes, we've hit about 90 minutes. I usually like to keep it right around that. So we fucking
Yeah.
did it. You guys are fucking amazing for helping me out with this Coco information. And you definitely gave me some food for thought, some brain microbes that didn't come out right. But my thoughts are gestating. And yeah, I'm going to put together this video. So probably Sunday after next, we'll have the video with you guys. So thank you so much. What's your preferred way guys can find you? Tops, you usually over on Instagram. You do Discord. What's the best way people can find you?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at taken.tops.official, or you could find me at globfather.official, or you can follow Tropicana Extracts. All three of those accounts are run by me. So and I do have a Discord, I have a Telegram, but if you reach out to me on Instagram, I can point you in any direction you want to go.
Hell yeah. And now we talked about your podcast, Seed to Harvest podcast. But personally, where can they find you, Chris?
We're at I'm at Canorado_Chris, and then also Mo runs the Mo Grows stuff, and she runs her own tent, so you can find her on Instagram. And then our Seed to Harvest podcast at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of the show. And we're going to start dropping our link halfway through the show to bring on fellow growers. So just keep on the look. Seed to Harvest. Thanks, Grambo, and we'll have you on the show for sure, brother.
Yeah, good
anytime.
good work, Chris, man. You fucking came out of left field, and you're hot on the scene, so good on you, man.
Appreciate that from peers. You know, you don't know if you're doing it right, but when your peers say so, it means a lot for sure.
Yeah, well, like you said,
I'm
you
pretty
said it
snooty.
yourself, man. You've only been at it a couple years. That's really quick to get your feet under you and establish yourself in a community that is never stops moving. It's very, very fast, So it's like I said, good on you, man. Good job.
Thank you. I got to give it up to Elle and Rue too. I mean, without partners, it's hard to do this on your own. Like Matt, I can't believe that on his own, one man. So
Well, he's got a strong woman behind him too, so
He does.
he ain't
All
all
right.
by himself. So shout out to Mrs. THC.
Yep, Mrs. Can THC. So, all right, it was fun hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, man. You
Fuck
too,
yeah. Well,
guys.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and we'll see you at the cup, and hopefully see you at Adam's place. If you, I'll message you guys offline. Let's meet at Adam's next Friday or the one after. I think
Sounds
the
like a
one after is
plan.
419, so it's gonna be
Right.
popping. Be
We'll
popping,
figure it
boys.
out, brother.
Enjoy
Later.
enjoy the rest of your Sunday
All
night,
right.
fellas.
Bye.
All right, later, Gram fam. If anyone wants anything, everyone can go hit up GRAMBO.shop. If you want a Grambo Grows short or one of my grow hats, I'm getting this grow hat thing going on. I'm rocking bald today, tops, but yeah, I'm getting those grow hats. That Turp Farmer went out of business, so I'm jumping in with my grow hats. So GRAMBO.shop, that's my plug. If you're still here, you want to buy something, if you wear something of mine at the DGC Cup, I'll give you a blowjob. No, I didn't say that.